if you look at this painting, at first glance you can't really tell what it is. In part that's because it's modern art, but also this was done as part of an assignment by a friend of mine who is a Master of Fine Arts student, who was asked to take some ordinary object found around the home and turn it into art. We can ask the question, what is art? And often people answer with the response, I know it when I see it. So take a look at this painting and see if you can see what it really used to be before it became a work of art. These are my philosophy books on my shelf at home. There are quite a number of them, as you can see. Then as we pan around the room, we'll see I have mostly theological books there, some Jewish studies books there, some history books there, some political science books and history books there, more theology books in that direction there. You can see what I'm watching on the news. Various histories here from the Folio Society. And then more books in this direction. This is mostly my Anglican shelf, which is a little bit hard to see from this angle. And this is just one particular room. Up here is another painting by the same friend who did the earlier one. This one was a more obvious assignment, do something in the style of Van Gogh, so you can see what it is. Just to remind you, and I apologize for the lighting in here, but the sun does do what it wants to do. Here's the painting I mentioned before. Have you guessed what it is yet? This is another room of my house with yet more books. As you can see on the bookshelf here, almost all of these are theological books from my time in seminary. These are literature books on these shelves here, and general reference books. Then here we have more theology and religious studies books, archaeology books on the bottom, down there, more religious studies books and history books. And on the other side over here we have mostly British history books. Giving you a brief tour of my house so you can see sort of where I come from. Here's another shelf. These are all biblical studies books. And on the other side of the shelf, we have again theology and biblical studies texts. On the other side of the room here, we have more literature books, foreign language books, poetry books. Sort of underneath this coverlet here is my telescope. I'm interested in astronomy, so this is a nice telescope, reflecting telescope. And back behind it, we have science books and math books. Lots of physics, lots of astronomy, calculus, differential equations, other such things like that. Then around the corner, more theology books, more religious studies books. I just thought I'd give you a little sense of what it is I do all day long, which is largely read, study, try to figure things out with the help of people past and present, which often comes in the form of books. Now that you've seen part of my home, we can get down to the business of philosophy. And your first question this week is, what is philosophy? As you saw, all of the books that I was showing you, they all have various answers to that question. The Popkin book in the first chapter tries to describe what philosophy is, but philosophy is not something that just resides in books, even the thousands of books that I have in my house here. As often as not, we find out what philosophy is in our interactions with each other. Socrates was very big on going down into the marketplace and doing philosophy among the people. He believed that everyone had the right and indeed the responsibility to do philosophy. So that's one of the things I hope we'll do in this course by engaging in the discussion boards with each other. One of the things you should also do, however, is to reference other authorities. Partly that comes from the Popkin book, Partly that comes from the other books that you were sent. Partly that will come from doing outside researches on your own. Despite the fact that I have all of these books in my house, as you've seen, there's still no clear answer to what is philosophy, a once and for all answer that I can settle upon, because I keep finding new things that I could add to that definition and new interpretations that I could apply. And each person will have a different view of it. So I invite you to think about what philosophy is after reading the chapter and posting your responses, looking to see what your fellow students in the class also think, and I'll be adding some of my own comments along the way too. Now, have you figured out what the piece of art behind me really was? Well, if you guessed it was a used pizza box, you would be correct. Go back and look at the beginning of the video again, and you'll see the outline of a pizza box. That was the canvas that my friend used for this work of art. And it makes sense that a student in college would have pizza boxes lying around. We can turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. And that's what I hope we'll work on in our class of philosophy here as well. So I hope to put more videos up, and I hope to hear from you too in class. Stay tuned.